Ships and boats. Introduction. Before there were cars, trains, or airplanes, boats were the fastest way to travel. They helped to shape history, leading explorers to new lands and spreading new ideas surround the world. Ships and boats have changed a lot over the years, but still have much in common with the earliest designs. Early ships and boats. The first boats were carved from single wooden logs. These dugout canoes were used in rivers, lakes, and oceans around the world. People used long poles, paddles, or oars to move the canoes through the water. Paddles and oars are long pieces of wood with broad, flat ends. They push against the water to move the boat forward. Before people began to make those with wooden frames, they covered the frame with bark, reeds, or animal skins to keep out the water. In the South Pacific, people were building boats that could sail well beyond the islands where they lived. People took two canoes and connected them using large wooden poles. This style of boat was called a catamaran. The catamaran could travel very fast. It also allowed safe travel from one island to another. Some frame ships, such as galleys, were much larger than log boats. Thousands of years ago, many groups of people around the Mediterranean Sea used galleys for trade and warfare. Galleys were frame ships covered with wood that carried many rowers. The largest galleys had hundreds of rowers sitting on several decks. Many galleys also had sails made from strong cloth. Sails could be used when the wind was blowing in the direction the ship was traveling. In time, boats and ships relied more and more on wind power. Sailboats should travel much farther than ships that relied on rowers for their power. The Vikings used wooden framed longships to cross the sea to raid towns and villages on other coasts. Like galleys, longships and had sails as well as oars. The Vikings could land by surprise anywhere along the coast, something that helped them in battle. Around 500 years ago, larger sailing ships began to be built. These sailing ships were able to cross the ocean. Famous explorers such as Ferdinand Magellan used sailing ships to travel from Europe to North and South America. Magellan was also the first captain to sail completely around the world. Modern ships and boats, when the steam engines were invented, they were used in many boat and ship designs. Steamships did not depend on the wind for power. They could sail into the void or even when there was no wind all. At all. Steamboats using paddle wheels became an important way to move quickly up and down rivers. Today, many boats are made of metal and plastic. Many ships and boats use electricity to turn their propellers. The propellers push the boat through the water. Some modern ships are very large. Cruise ships are like floating hotels. They can carry thousands of people all around the world. Huge tankers carry oil and gas over the ocean. Some boats and ships are built to do special work. Tugboats push and pull larger ships in places where they can't move themselves. Fireboats help put out fires on other ships. Ferry boats carry cars and people. Many countries use ships and boats, large and small, to defend their coasts. Submarines hide under the surface of the water. Aircraft carriers serve as floating runways and allow planes and helicopters to fly anywhere in the world. Allow planes and helicopters to fly anywhere in the world. Although large, modern boats with propellers are everywhere today, people still use smaller boats for fishing, fun, and sport. It is almost impossible to look at a river, lake, or ocean and not see a variety of boats. Many smaller boats still use paddles, oars, or sails, just as the earliest boats did. Conclusion: ships and boats have played an important part in human history. For thousands of years, they have allowed people to explore their world. They are still an important way to move quickly over the water.